Happy Saturday, people. It's Jacob on the one up top. First and foremost, I want to hope you all have a nice weekend. I know I'm having a chilled one this weekend. Just come back from a morning walk in my head. So as I was doing it, I thought I'm going to make a video on Tottenham. I had a lot of things going through my head based over the last week. I was on a good stream yesterday, and it made me think, I'm going to do an extended preview on what's going on tomorrow in the London derby against Chelsea. But also just reflect on what's going on at Tottenham recently. So before you watch this video, remember to like, share, subscribe, put the notification bell on if you haven't done already. I appreciate the love in all the videos. But I'm just going to get straight into it before I enjoy the rest of my day. So first and foremost, it's been made aware to all Tottenham fans, football fans across Europe, let's say, that the big story is around Daniel Levy giving himself a 500k pay rise for the work he's done for Tottenham. Now, I've gone on a few streams. I've looked on Twitter, Instagram, all of that, and all I'm seeing is Tottenham fans, particularly obviously for obvious reasons, going crazy at the fact that he doesn't deserve a pay rise in their eyes. And the reason behind that, which I get, is that we all want what's best on the grass. If Tottenham fans had a say in whether we moved from White Hart Lane to move to a bigger stadium for it to kind of stay the same or get worse, or stay at White Hart Lane where we were building something, any seasoned Tottenham fan, of my age or older, let's say, would have definitely stayed at the lane where we were building a lot of momentum. The last season we were unbeaten at home, but in typical Tottenham fashion, even though we're probably the best side in the country, we finished second. So, we moved. But, as I go back to the subject, nobody's happy with the fact he's got a pay rise. But what I thought about over the last couple of days is that what Tottenham fans need to do, which we all hate to do. I hate the fact that I had to do it, but when I did it, kind of calms me down in the situation, is the fact that every Tottenham fan forgets that Daniel Levy doesn't answer to us. He don't answer to us. If we want this player, if we want this formation, if we want this manager, he's not going to be listening to us because, one, there's too many of us, so we've all got different opinions, and two, he doesn't really care. So, there's only one boss that he's got to answer to, which is Joe Lewis. Now, if Joe Lewis doesn't want what we want, he's going to reward Daniel Levy differently. Now, the reason why I say everyone calm themselves down is you need to put yourself in Daniel Levy's shoes and understand what your targets are. So the way I relate it is, imagine two sides of the coin. So I'm going to relate it to most of us, which are, common people that work. So imagine, I don't know if you all have, but you work in a call center. So I'm going to use myself. You join a call center, you're a call center agent. So you go there, you're the newbie. Within 6 months, you establish yourself. Now I'm the guy that everybody likes. I'll feed off everybody. We've all got a tight-knit group. So I go to work caring about my team. I go to work caring about the company. I care about our success within the office, okay? So, you're building momentum. After 6 months to a year, you become a team leader. So a team leader, you get to the point where you moved up in the hierarchy and you get to voice the opinions of your team because you care about what goes on within the office. So it gets to the point you're a team leader, you're doing well, you're establishing yourself. A year or two down the line, you're now the contact center manager. So now you've heard the opinions, you've been a call center agent. Now the ball's in your court. You get to remove people's frustrations. You get to build an even tight-knit team. You get into that position and you do what you've been asked. You get to the point where you've established the team's building even more success, everybody's enjoying work even more so because I'm the contact center manager. Okay, so everybody loves Jacob. He's the reason why everybody's happy, everyone's smiling, everybody wants to come to work. It's brilliant, right? But then the CEO of that business comes into the office one day and calls me into the office and says that he wants, he's heard good things about me. He's seen that I've boosted the morale. Fortunes are changing under my stewardship as the contact center manager. So he doesn't want me at contact center manager level. He now wants me even further up. So he's considering me to be an operations manager, an operations director of that ilk. So it's getting to the point where, you're the contact center manager and you thought that you're at the pinnacle of your career, but then you've been given another boost. But he says, give it a couple of weeks, think about it, and then we'll have a conversation. So you go and meet him on his boat or whatever, or wherever you go meet him in a nice posh restaurant, and he explains that he wants you to be the operations manager. Your wages are going to go from 35 grand to 80 grand, plus bonuses, benefits, company car, all this crazy stuff. So all of a sudden you've gone from earning 35k, which is a good enough wage for you to be sustainable within this country, to now getting to the point where you're earning money, where you're thinking about generational wealth. You're thinking like, you can look after your kids, your mum, your dad, everything can be sorted out. You're talking, you can sort out everything and still have loads of change. So then, you think about it, and he says, all right, I'm going to call you into a meeting with, the board of directors, myself, part owners, everything like that. So you get called in, and they're going to outline the targets that you will be set, and then you have to kind of say within a matter of days, are you happy with this? So you go in there, you look at the board. They've got a PowerPoint presentation going, and all you're seeing is something that you haven't seen as much as you have in the call center. So you're seeing numbers, you're seeing figures, you're seeing pound coins, euro signs, stock replenishment, staff wages. You're seeing things like we must get rid of 5 staff every year. These are things that all of a sudden you're thinking, these are the factors that disgruntled the teams that I was in. When I was at the bottom of the pit as a call center agent, and when I reached the top as a team leader, or a call center manager. So you're scratching your head now and you're thinking, okay, so this is why everybody was pissed off. Okay. But you're in that position now where everybody's pissed off, but you've got a decision to make. Do you want to sit there and shout the odds to the owners of the business and say, look, this is why they were frustrated, this is why this, and ruin the opportunity you've got? Or are you going to go there and realise that now that they are your boss, and you're now going to be responsible for ensuring that they bring in more money? So it gets to the point where the manager says to you, you're going to be earning 80 grand a year, but it could go up to 100, 120, 150 based on performances. And I need revenue, I need profits, and it's substantial amounts. And you're looking at this thinking, my life can get no better. Are you going to be stupid enough to care about the call center? Now, if you do, that means you've got a heart of gold, and I commend you for it. But then someone else in the call center is going to take that opportunity that you've got. So you're going to end up having to change your mindset and focus on the fact that you've got a family to look after, you've got a life to live, you want generational wealth, all of that jazz, right? So you come out of that meeting and they say, we'll give you a week to decide whether you want to be with the call center or you want to be with us, because you can't do both. You've got to have some element of care towards the call center, but it's a different ball game now. You could be set for life in this case. Working in the contact center, you could do other things outside work, but if you're just going to rely on that contact center wage, you're going to be comfortable in life, but you're not going to be set. You're always going to be looking for more. You're not going to get more because you're already at the top of the tree. Now, the reason why I use that analogy is that we as fans, Conte, the staff, managers beforehand, recruitment teams, the stewards, all of that, they are all part of the contact center. These are the people that care about what goes on in the grass. These are the people that want the trophies for whatever reason. So the fans want it because we're starved. Conte wants it because he wants to achieve for himself and for the fans. You've got the staff that, they don't wake up every morning thinking that they don't want to win. They're concentrating on winning every game. You've got the stewards that are part of the fan base. You know, we're all the contact centre downwards, right? The issue is that when you go above that, that's your Daniel Levy's, your Joe Lewis's. They don't care about what goes on down there. As long as, you know, if what goes on down there in the contact centre affects business and money, that's when they're bothered. But as far as they're concerned, it's not. And the reason why is because they, as the owners of the business, look at the contact centre and say, easily fooled. We can do a few things. So, you know, imagine being in that position now. You're the operations manager. You know exactly how the office and the contact center works. So you just say, look, every 3 to 6 months, have a office outing. You know, an office meal. Take them away for the weekend. Have an event, and I can guarantee you that will throw them off for a bit. And that's what happens in contact centres. You know, it gets to the point where you'll take them out for a meal, they'll get given, you know, a £200 bonus or something, and then that'll shut them up for a bit. This is how they work, because it gets to the point, we as Tottenham fans, we think we're a big club. Now, if we're a big club, that's fine, we're not elite, right? But we want to be on the levels of your Chelseas, your Liverpools, Man Uniteds, but we're not there. And the ownership knows that. So what they do is they chuck us the little bonuses. So they'll give you a 200 bonus is, there you go, there's Mourinho. When it gets disgruntled, there you go, here's Conte. When it gets disgruntled, Harry Kane, new deal. Dele Alli, new deal. And we as a fan base, 70% of us will shut up. So, you know, what it is, the distinguishing between an elite club and a big club or a smaller club is that no matter what's going on, big clubs expect. So I'll give you an example. It's like Man United. This season, they could quite easily finish third, win the Carling Cup, you know, get further into the latter stage of the FA Cup and the Europa League. Now, if they've won that cup and got into the latter stages of everything, but not quite got there, Man United will be like, all right, cool. We're going to go and sign Harry Kane. We're going to go and shore up the defence. You know, Wan-Bissaka's not needed anymore. Luke Shaw, not needed anymore. De Gea, not sure. They'll boost to that. So then next season, they've got a better chance of, if they're not going to win the league, they finish second. FA Cup becomes irrelevant. Yeah, we've got that. That was a bit of leverage. Carling Cup, if we can, you know, hopefully the kids win that. But with Tottenham, if at our fan base in general, if we finish third, especially if we finish third, imagine if we finish third above Arsenal, right? We finish third above Arsenal, so everyone's jumping around like, oh. It'll be all about Arsenal not winning the league, but it's like, okay, we finished third though, so realistically, the difference, there isn't much difference. The only difference is prize money. You know, we're both in the Champions League. If we won the FA Cup, Spurs fans are having a party for 2 weeks. And if we go and win it next season, another party. Carling Cup, you know, Tottenham fans, in hindsight, are crackheads over the Carling Cup. You know, Pochettino got criticised for not taking that seriously. But right now, we're itching and scratching like crackheads for a Carabao Cup. But apparently we're a big club. So there's a transparency. And Daniel Levy's a smart man. He knows that. He knows most fans at this club think like that. So, you know, right now, you know, 5 weeks ago, it was doom and gloom. All of a sudden, top four looks likely. If we beat Sheffield United at the weekend, we're into the last stage of the FA Cup. If we beat AC Milan next week or the week after, we're in the quarterfinals of the Champions League. So Daniel Levy knows if we beat Chelsea, we beat Sheffield United, and we get a good result against AC Milan, all those Tottenham fans that were complaining about this pay rise that he's just got will shut up very quickly. So if you're in Daniel Levy's shoes and you know that, you ain't got to worry. Because how many times have Tottenham fans moaned about me, but when we've got top four, finished above Arsenal, and got close to winning a cup, everybody shuts up. And you even get some Tottenham fans that'll even come out and say, where are the Levy haters now? This is, you know, he's actually got support within our fan base. Do you think Daniel Levy would get away with this at Man United? Do you think he'd get away with this at Chelsea? I mean, you look at Chelsea and promise you, death threats are the worst thing that I condone. Like, I don't know how you go forth and threaten a man's wife and kids and say, you know, death, right? But if you deep it, the reason why this has happened to Graham Potter, one, because they're idiots, but these are idiots that are used to success. So these Chelsea fans, every club has got idiots. So if Graham Potter was managing Tottenham and we were 10th, but we've spent all this money, Tottenham fans would probably be like, yeah, give him time. Why is that? Because we haven't got elite mentality. These idiots that are at Chelsea that are used to success, they're going as far as doing death threats. Why? Because one, it's idiotic, but two, they're used to so much success, so they're not bothered that they've spent 400 million. What's happening on the pitch? We're 10th. If we lose to Tottenham, it gets worse. There's the difference. So, Ted, Bowley at Chelsea, the Glazers at Man United. You've got Man City's owners. These are people that know realistically they can't put the wool over their fans' eyes because they're used to 15, 20 years of success. It was the same at Arsenal. Arsenal would win a lot of FA Cups, but it was Kroenke out, Kroenke out. But if Tottenham won that amount of FA Cups, Levy would be lauded. So we can't be putting ourselves up with those with those clubs, unfortunately, because if we won 3 FA Cups in the next 6 years, Daniel Levy's finally doing his job. Arsenal were getting that, and they still wanted Wenger out. They still wanted Kroenke out. They still wanted to get rid of players like Aaron Ramsey, your Aubameyangs. Why? Because they've got a different mentality to us, and the owners know that. So now owners have had their hands forced. They've had to sort it out, and they've had to say to Arteta, "There you go, here's the money," and he's doing well. You look at Chelsea, like they're chucking money at it, and right now it looks terrible. But we all know full well that once a manager comes in, whether it's Graham Potter or not, he's going to look at the squad that he's got to handpick from. He could probably get rid of 10 players that most clubs would want, probably bring in about 200 million, but then he's still got a world-class squad. So for me, Daniel Levy, when it comes to that pay rise, based on what his owners want, the CEOs of this call centre, deserves a pay rise. He's the best businessman in terms of a football club in Europe, hands down. So in terms of that, he deserves a pay rise, but he doesn't deserve a pay rise in our eyes. But the problem is, what you guys need to realise, we are not his boss. We don't pay his wages. You know what I mean? Well, effectively we do by turning up to the games, by subscriptions to Sky Sports, merchandise. Of course we pay them, but we don't pay his wages as in he comes to us. We don't conduct how much he earns. We don't figure out, we could always have our opinion on whether he deserves it, but in terms of what he's asked to do, he deserves it. Like I say, put yourselves in the position of that operations manager. At one point, it was all about the club. It was all about the pitch. He's gone to work for the CEO now, and he's got generational wealth in mind. Sorry, guys, I don't really care. As long as you're operating and you're making the business money and my ideas bring us more money, me and my family are going Barbados next year. Daniel Levy's got the same mindset, just a lot more money. Do you know what I mean? He gets to the point where when he sells the club, his targets would have been build that stadium. His target would have been bringing a manager just to maintain Champions League football. So Champions League football brings in these players. Get players in a budget, and if we win, that's a bonus. But winning a cup, winning a trophy, winning a league, that's probably about 10th in the list. Bring it in, brilliant. But what people don't understand is if we bring in because we've got a small club mentality in a lot of our fan base, if we bring in an FA Cup or a Carling Cup, or better yet, a Champions League or Premier League, just one of those things, yeah, Daniel Levy knows he's got about 10 years of leverage. He can go, look, mate, I won the champ. If we won that Champions League, yeah, and we were struggling like this, man, Daniel Levy would be like, I won your Champions League. Shut up. I won you an FA Cup. Shut up. We're so starved of success that one cup would keep him here for another 10 years. And even as hardened Tottenham fan would probably go, he's done his job. I'm not one of those. If he brings in an FA Cup, a Premier League, a Champions League, I'll be happy as a Spurs fan, but you ain't done your job. You've brought in one trophy in the last 20 years, and you can't tell me that you were working towards that, because the players that you brought in, under Poch, you weren't working towards a Champions League victory. No chance. You're just lucky that you had a manager that got us there. You had players that were at an absolute level. That was not your plan. You know what I mean? I'd love to see the paperwork. It wasn't your plan. But like I say, guys, if you support Tottenham and you're unhappy with it, you're only going to shut your mouth when if we beat Chelsea at the weekend and we beat Sheffield United, you're all going to go quiet. Whereas with me, I'll keep going on. I want Enoch out. I still want Conte out, even if we finish top four, because the football isn't great. Daniel Levy's not going to back him, so it's not like I want him out solely because it's his fault. The football is not suited to the way football's being played right now. Over the last 10 years, there's a reason why your Klopps and your Guardiolas have been the most successful. They don't play this type of football. It's because it's that football wins, not what we do. Pragmatic doesn't win you anything. For me, pragmatic doesn't win you things in life. If you're sitting there in life just waiting around, if you counter-attack life, there's only you might be able to get successful, but generally in life you've got to take it by the scruff of the neck and go and get it. So if you want that job, if you want that girl, if you want that man, if you want that house, if you want that car, if you want that opportunity, you don't just sit there and go, you know what, I'll wait till that opportunity comes to me and then I'll attack. No, you go and get it. So that's what happens in football. Guardiola, Klopp, Hansi Flick, even in international football, no one sits there and sits off. You'll get results. You will win games. Don't get it twisted, but you won't win championships doing it that way. Mourinho's learnt the hard way. Everyone thought he'd go to Roma and completely succeed. Fair enough, he won the Conference Cup, but he's made up a cup that was made up. Let's be real. And then, in Roma are finishing 7th every league, so they're continually qualifying for the Conference Cup. And then Mourinho goes and wins it. Fine, Roma fans might be happy, but Roma are just like the Italian Spurs, really. Everybody will say they don't want to be in the Conference Cup, but if we win it, everybody's going to the pub for the weekend. So that's where our mentality is at. We won't, if the fans as a fan base change their mentality, cool. But it won't, and you can't. Because how can you become a winning fan base when you don't win nothing? It's as simple as that. So Daniel Levy, if Daniel Levy was my mate, I'd be like, fair play, you're mugging him off and you're getting all your money for it. But I'm not his mate, and it's frustrating. But, there's no point in me focusing too much energy on Daniel Levy because he ain't going nowhere. Because if I was him, I wouldn't be going nowhere. Sell Tottenham is perfect. I might come off and get paid, and I'll get pay rises. I ain't going nowhere. If I was in a job getting pay rises and I could not necessarily mug off a call centre, but everybody thinks I'm, whether they think I'm an idiot or not, I'm going Barbados 3 times a year, and my kids in a private school. My mum's retired, but I'm sorting everything out for her. My sisters are calm. Not being funny, but I don't really care about you lot. Unless my family work in the call centre, or my best friends work in the call centre, you lot moan all you want, man. Don't care. So that's how it is. I'll put myself in Daniel Levy's shoes. So a lot of Tottenham fans, if you do the same thing, it might calm you down a little bit, even though it's frustrating. I'm not going to sit there saying that now I've put my feet in his shoes, I'm happy. I just kind of sit back and think that his goals are business orientated, not football. So that's enough on Levy. But I'm going to move on to tomorrow's London derby, which kicks off just before the Carabao Cup. So it should be a good day of football. Sorry, you've got Tottenham, Chelsea, followed by the Carabao Cup with Man United, Newcastle. So I'm looking forward to tomorrow's football and today's, to be fair. There's quite a lot on. Sky have got 2 games on after the 3 o'clock kickoffs. So I'm, looking forward to it. I've got a weekend where the kids are away with their mum. So I've got a weekend where I'm putting my feet up, watching the football while playing Football Manager. Love it. So I'm going to talk about tomorrow. First of all, I'm going to go to the opposition, which is Chelsea. It's there for all to see, like I highlighted earlier. Graham Potter getting death threats, which is it's disgusting. I don't understand it. How, for me, if you as a Chelsea fan, any of those people that sent them death threats out, I know you're probably not watching, but if you do watch it, I don't understand. Because if you want your manager to do the best, do you think that he's going to get the best out of his team or do the best at his job by stressing him out? Do you know what I mean? So if I'm on my way to work now and, I'm whistling, I'm on my way in, I'm on the train, and I hear that somebody wants to bring harm to my family, I'm not going to go to work and carry on having a nice day. If anything, I'm going to get off at the next stop at the train, make my way home, and be with my family while these people want to harm them. I'm not coming to work until I'm confident that I've got security around my family. But you guys think by doing that, he's going to wake up tomorrow morning, out of his bed going, can't wait for today. You know what I mean? It has an effect on the players because there's going to be players that like the manager. There's going to be players that are human and like these monsters. They're not going to be able to think straight. Because if I was playing for Chelsea, it might be going badly. But if my manager's getting death threats like that, you're thinking to yourself, is this the club that I want to play for? But on top of that, you want to help him. So in hindsight, it might boost the players because I know I'd want to play for him. I'd be like, you know what, don't worry about it. If you play me tomorrow, I'm going to give my all for you because I don't want to be a contributing factor to these people sending these threats. So it could go both ways, really. It could get to the point where the pressure folds in on the manager and the players, and you know, if we score an early goal, all sorts of problems. But at the same time, it can build character amongst players. We've seen this before with managers where they've won, biggish games, and that's allowed for leverage for the squad to move forward. And generally, when managers need that, Tottenham are like, "Come on, come over here. We'll help you out." Like my friend Ryan said on a stream yesterday, which made me laugh. We are Dr. Tottenham because if you've got any players that ain't playing well, just come to the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. We'll sort you out. And we've even done it this season. Man United. Ten Hag was under immense pressure. They just lost 4-0 to Brentford. It was all going pear-shaped. Tottenham, they entertained us at home. The bookies made us favourites somehow in that game. But we played that badly that Rashford, that's where he picked his form up. He didn't score, but he had a brilliant game. He literally pressed our whole back five on his own and we crumbled. And then from there, I think the next week he scored. And then, you look at the player that he's got now. If we'd gone there and established ourselves and beat them 3-0, not to say that he wouldn't have picked up his form, but it'd have been a lot less likely and a lot later if we'd just not allowed it to happen. So this is what Tottenham do. In the past, there's times where we've been second in the league, challenging Arsenal, have been disarray. We've gone to play Arsenal, been battered. Like I just alluded to, Man United, Man City were on poor form earlier last season, and even earlier this season, we were 2-0 up, 4-2, gave them a boost. Weeks later they beat Arsenal. If we'd beaten Man City there, the likelihood is they probably don't win the league. And Arsenal have been done a favour. But, as I say, it's Dr. Tottenham. Don't worry about it, boys. Beat us, man. We'll do you a favour. So that's why Chelsea will be buoyed by that. Chelsea have got a very good record against us in the Premier League. And for that reason, that's why I don't feel confident. I think it's being a Tottenham fan in general. Like, there's Tottenham fans that, everyone's entitled to their opinion. And they think that just because Chelsea on bad form and they lost to Southampton the other day, that we're just going to go and beat them 4-0. Football don't work like that. And Tottenham definitely don't work like that. So, I don't know. It's one of those games, really, where if we score early, like everybody keeps saying, we probably will win. But my issue in the game regarding tomorrow is no matter what lineup Chelsea put up, they will look to play fluid football. They'll look to put people in with pace, because they haven't really got a target man. They haven't got a Harry Kane. They haven't got a Lewandowski. They haven't got somebody that's going to hold up the play, and do the dirty sides. They've literally got people that are just going to play the 1-2s. And I believe that our defenders, as in our centre halves, those are the sort of players that we struggle against. Those are the players where they play 1-2s around Romero. He gets himself booked early. Eric Dyer doesn't really engage with players like that because I don't think he has confidence in himself to go and engage in those players and win those tackles. Hence the reason why we got battered against Leicester. Leicester never had no target man, but because he didn't want to engage, because they're all small, nippy players, Harvey, Barnsley and Nacho, they were through. So do you know what I mean? Like, I know Chelsea have been in disarray, but in their forward line, they've got better players than Leicester. And if they play that, if Graham Potter's done his homework and watches that Leicester game and sees how our defenders crumble against nippy little players, he'll go and play a Sterling, a Mudryk and João Felix up front and hope that if they get that football playing, we're in trouble. So that's why I don't feel confident. Like I always say, just because I don't think Tottenham are going to win doesn't mean I'm negative. I'm realistic in my head. I watch, if we go and win 5-0, I'm not going to sit there and go, oh, I'm so pissed off I got the result. I want to be proved wrong. I want Conte to prove me wrong. Kane. I want Son to start and prove me wrong. 9 times out of 10, they don't know. Like, if I move on to our side, it might be an unpopular opinion, but just because Son scored last week, I don't think he should start based off that. Like, he's been poor for most of the season. Whenever we drop him, it's always 5 games too late, and then he scores, and then we're all like, "Oh, we've got our Son back." I think he needs to be dropped again. I think if you give Richarlison the start, and that'll boost his confidence, he'll be like, "Okay, the manager believes in me." And if he scores, brilliant. If he doesn't, having Son off the bench is a lot better than Son starting, and vice versa. Richarlison off the bench normally is useless, but starting, he's somebody that will wind the Chelsea players up. He'll get in Reece James's head. He'll get in Thiago Silva's head. He's just a little rat sometimes, isn't he? And when he plays for you, that's what you need in a London derby. You get someone sent off. Do you know what I mean? So I think start with Richarlison in that game. We need somebody that's got that type of mentality. Like, he's like a Diego Costa type player. Just ruffle a few feathers, get people forgetting about their game. He'll dive all over the place, and that'll get the fans going, the players going, and then that's what you need in a London derby. If we're at the stadium and it's flat, the likelihood is Chelsea will be like, right, we've kept the fans quiet. Let's go forth and try and get this victory. And with Chelsea, it can't get any worse. If they lose tomorrow, and Villa get a positive result, your Crystal Palace is all of a sudden they're closing in on them. Like, so when Chelsea and big clubs are in this predicament, and you want them to plummet even further, generally they don't. They end up getting a win or a draw. So that's the basis of the reason why I think we're actually going to lose tomorrow. I can just see, with Chelsea, it can't get any worse, and with Tottenham, it's like, whenever, as a Spurs fan, whenever I've gone, oh, if we win that game, and that game, we're nice. That's when it goes wrong. So, for instance, if we beat Chelsea tomorrow, we're comfortably in the top 4. Newcastle have had a little bit of a shock to the system. They could probably lose the Carling Cup tomorrow, and all of a sudden they're looking at it. They're under pressure. They don't want their season imploding because it's imperative for them to get Champions League football. I'd probably say it's important for them to get some sort of European football, so they'll get Europa League, but they have to be careful. So if we were to beat Chelsea, make sure that we don't lose to Sheffield United, because that could be a banana skin, and then take a replay and maybe go through to the last stages of the FA Cup, and then get a good result at AC Milan. Everything looks rosy, but because it's Tottenham, that's not going to happen. If it happens, I eat my words. But something will go wrong. We'll either beat Chelsea and lose to Sheffield United, or we'll lose to Chelsea and lose to Sheffield United. It's Tottenham. I've supported them long enough to know where it goes. But if I move on to our side a bit more now, I think if I wanted to do a predicted lineup, I'd keep it the same way with the 11, and I'd also keep it the same way with the coach. I just think Stellini has played 3 games, never got it wrong. He always says that Conte is the voice behind him, saying, instructing all this. But I just think it's the fear factor from the players, because Conte is the sort of manager, I've seen him, where, Perisic might want to go forward and he's going mad, going, why have you gone that far forward? And then Perisic gets to the point where instead of taking a defender on, he just passes it because he's scared. Whereas I think when you're a player, you think, it's only Stellini, and you kind of do it. But then when we're getting away with it, we're getting results. We look at West Ham. I think that's the first time this season that I've seen both our fullbacks involved in a goal. We were doing it all year last year, and that's the reason why we managed to pip Arsenal. We're not doing it at all, and I think it's because Conte's even more restricted and less trusting in our defence. So we've literally got a back 5. It ain't wing backs, it's back 5. But then we've got wing backs that are supposed to be attacking, but they're being told to defend. That's why Sessegnon struggles. Perisic is great on set pieces, but in his general gameplay, he struggles. Emerson Royal, when we're defending, that's why he's kind of looked all right. But then now he's started to improve his game going forward. And then we've got Pedro Porro that's coming, that's giving a kick up the backside. We're starting to see a player in him. So I would go as far as saying same lineup as last week. Um, and if the pattern of play goes the same way, bring the subs on at the same time. If it gets to the point where Son's on the bench and he's screwing and it's 0-0, I want to see Son on the bench. Sad. I don't want to see the Son that on. I like Son. He's a happy guy. But when you're down in the dumps, I don't want to see you running around the training pitch, tickling people and that. Having a little laugh and that. I don't get focused. Just concentrate. I want you to be happy. Don't get it twisted. I don't want you to be depressed and get sick from it. But have a bit of focus, man. Like, you were our best player last year, and you're now becoming the worst in the space of 6 months. Like, I need to see Son have a bit of fire in his belly, and I think that's what he needs. So I drop him, leave the same as it is. Kulusevski's another one that needs a kick up the backside. So if he's not doing well, I'd like to see Danjuma come in. Like, this is a guy that last year everybody was after. He's had a couple of injuries, come to Tottenham, and we don't play him. Like, what was the point of taking him off Everton if we're not going to play him? You might as well let him go on Everton and shine. I feel sorry for the guy. But yeah, my prediction is I think that we're going to lose 2-1 tomorrow. I can see us conceding a goal really early because we're traditionally slow starters. I've got a feeling it will start the same way we did at West Ham. And if, I know Chelsea are in a rut, but they've got the players to score goals. Simple as that. Sterling's been a thorn in our side. Granted, he's been at Man City, but he's got a lot of goals against us. He's a London boy. He likes to come to London. He scores a lot against Arsenal. He scored a lot against Chelsea in the past before he joined them. So, yeah, I know it sounds bad, but I don't feel confident. But again, I hope I'll make a video tomorrow evening and I'm going crazy. But, if I counted how many times Tottenham have made me think differently and how many they haven't, it would go in favour of the latter by a country mile. So I just hope that the lads can turn up. I hope Stellini's still at the wheel. I wish Conte all the best in his recovery from his illness. And yeah, if you're a Spurs fan and you're annoyed with Daniel Levy, just stop it. Because you're going to end up having anxiety, depression, post-traumatic disorders. You're just going to get stressed. There's no point. Daniel Levy is not going to change. And if you're a Spurs fan, give your head a wobble and stop letting results, progression in competitions, Beyonce concerts trigger your mentality. Your mentality needs to stay the same. But unfortunately, for the majority of you, they don't. We all know that there'll be Enoch out, Conte outs, but we'll beat Chelsea tomorrow potentially, and you'll all shut up. So keep the same energy. My same energy is Conte needs replacing. But again, he'll just paper over the cracks with a Pochettino. Pochettino, they'll be singing it's magic. He doesn't get backed. And then we're thinking, okay, we want another manager. Start understanding that this ownership just papers over the cracks. Stop falling for it. As I say, come on, you Spurs. I hope we get the win tomorrow. I beg you all to like, share, subscribe. I'm trying to get up to 200 subscribers and further that. If you like the videos, remember to hit the notification bell and leave as many comments as you can, because I'm there to respond. I want your opinion. If you think I'm right, thumbs up. If you think I'm wrong, comment. And at some point, if we're gonna go toe to toe, I'll get you on a video. So, yep. Have a nice weekend. Have a nice Saturday. Come on, you Spurs. Take care. Jacob signing out. One up top.